Let me also acknowledge the presence of the Deputy General Secretary and also one of our brilliant young lawyers who is doing so well for us, Appointee Esquire, and all national officers. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Before I start, let me also say that last week we invited all of you to Harvard, the well-attended, the mammoth demonstration, Save the Judiciary demonstration. It was very, very successful, well-attended, well-organized. The message was loud, clear. We sent petitions to the judiciary, the legislature, which is parliament, and then to the presidency. You all saw how thousands, hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians registered their displeasure against the political attack on our democracy and then the judiciary. So we thank you very much for covering. And then hopefully you'll be hearing from us. We'll be announcing a series of events to take place. Once again, good morning, members of the media. Greetings to you all, well-meaning Ghanaians across the length and breadth of our beloved country. We thank you for honoring our invitation at such short notice. The new Patriotic Party, as a responsible political party, deems it necessary to speak out on critical matters in our democratic journey, not only to expose the truth behind the National Democratic Congress deceptive politics, but also to assure the people of Ghana that we remain committed to progress, unity, prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today we are going to have a discussion on three important issues. First of all, we are aware that His Excellency the President outdoored the well-publicized code of conduct for his appointees. Flowing from that, we've had some incidences. We'll be discussing that. And that will be the Sammy Gyamfi Agradaa scandal, and then also the A+ Attorney General scandal, and then other matters will also follow. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, 10th May 2025, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who is also the acting CEO of Gold Board, was seen in a widely circulated video doling out fresh United States dollars notes to a known controversial figure, Evangelist Patriotic, aka Nana Agradaa. The act, which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently enacted Code of Conduct by President Muhammad. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outdoored by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sami Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency which Sami Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law in its letter and spirit prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has over the years issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive. It helps in stabilizing our city. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the code of conduct for his appointees, and the president is reported to have said that the code of conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The president further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1.2 of the code. Mr. Sami Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1.3, he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sami Gyamfi likewise, it received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the president. If the president is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the president is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sami Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapaah for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of her ladyship, Justice Tokuno, few weeks ago because the judicial service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the judicial service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sami Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sami Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sami Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapaah. And he says that it was clear. This is the same provision We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sami Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you have been told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sami Gyamfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. Very, very fast. And afterwards, and if you saw where he even picked the money from, you could see that, yes, you have a lot of it stuck in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madam Agradaa, and then Madam Agradaa also, out of insufficient spirit, grabbed all. Obviously, she saw that there were a lot of dollars stuck in there. So that is how come she could again grab all the dollars. And this is a serious matter. We note that section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sami Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for, and which is disproportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the President to immediately interdict Mr. Sami Gyamfi as an acting chief executive officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least, he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madam Cecilia Dapa, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been MP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madam Cecilia Dapa was made to resign immediately by the president. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madam Cecilia Dapa and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sami Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs during the Madam Cecilia Dapa Saga, and I quote him, "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madam Cecilia Dapa resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of Her Ladyship Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Asempa FM Okosisen, he stated that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday. Per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sami Gyamfi presently heads the Gold Board. This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the city through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the Gold Board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the Gold Board was to centralize all businesses, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the city. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support, to help, and to prevent the depreciation of the city, to stabilize the city, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car. Mr. Sami Gyamfi again lacks confidence in the Ghanaian city. And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the city, if he is unable to protect the city, and he will rather be displaying dollars, then it means he can also pretend over the same institution, seeking to stabilize the city with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons for the last 40 as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why we are seeing the appreciation of the city. Again, yesterday, the minority in parliament also had a press conference where they also mentioned the allowances, the salaries of Mr. Sami Gyamfi, referencing the minority press conference yesterday. The state cannot be paying Mr. Gyamfi hefty salaries and allowances for him to be undermining the very currency which is at the heart of his mandate. The state provides the following for Mr. Gyamfi: a gross basic salary annually 1.5 million, subject to an annual review and upward adjustment of 15%. 1.5 million a year. Hold on, that is not the only amount. Hold on. Let's go step by step. Hold on. Clothing allowance of 15% of annual salary, payable once per annum by year end. So the 15 million I just mentioned, he is entitled to clothing allowance of 15% of his annual salary. So he's entitled to 50% of 1.5 million, which is supposed to be his clothing allowance. Hold on, travel with me, hold on. Provision of 2 security officers or 6,000 each officer as an equivalent. 1 gardener or 4,000 Ghana cedis as a cash equivalent. Full medical cover for him, his spouse, and up to 5 children. Provision of 2 cars with full maintenance and insurance. Fuel allocation of 1,005 liters of fuel monthly. Fuel allocation, do your own mathematics, 1,005 liters of fuel monthly for each official vehicle. The official vehicle may be sold to Mr. Gyamfi upon contract expiration or termination per the company's asset disposal policy. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. 30 working days of paid vacation annually, exclusive of public holidays. So anywhere in the world, if he decides to go to Bahamas, if he decides to go to wherever, if he decides to go there, the state is responsible to pay fully all the expenses for this vacation. Airfare up to 10,000 US dollars upon proof of per diem. Per diem of USD $2,000 a day. So if he travels for 30 days, it means he's going to receive $2,000 a day. For 7 days, payable in advance for annual familiarization tour. Business class travel tickets for official duties and $2,000 per diem per day of travel. Annual performance bonus subject to set targets and in accordance to the company's bonus policy. An unspecified CEO-related benefit shall be paid at the prevailing CEO's rate plus 20%. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. Somebody said A. Let me repeat. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. The annual salary is what? 1.5 million. It is palpable, unethical, and a complete betrayal of the public trust for Mr. Sami Gyamfi to receive all these benefits on the back of helping maintaining a steady currency, yet fail to have any iota of confidence in the Ghana cedi to the extent of using United States dollars as his currency of daily use. Ladies and gentlemen, it may have escaped many observers of this unfortunate incident, but of just after 120 days in government, Mr. Gyamfi was being driven in a 2025 fully spec Range Rover autobiography valued at $350,000. Fresh, it was fresh Range Rover autobiography, fresh tear rubber, fully spec autobiography Range Rover 2025 model, $350,000. The question that should engage the minds of well-meaning Ghanaians and how Mr. Sami Gyamfi can afford all these things under 120 days of being in government, and if they are gift, who are these persons gifting him, and what relationship do they have to his work as CEO? If within 120 days in office, appointees of Mr. Mahama have become culpable of such opulence and ostentation, then the years ahead will be indeed a telling story. Already, there is a loud cloud of corruption hanging around President Mohammed's appointee. Following the indictment of Dr. Ayeni, his Attorney General, as involved in corrupt activities, Article 88 of the Constitution is very clear. And I'll come back again to Sammy. But just about some few weeks ago, the Attorney General was accused of being a thief and being a corrupt person. In his defense, he said that A+ is saying so because he went for some monies from a certain businessman called Dr. Sledge. And that is why A+ is saying so. Now, A+ comes back, says that no, that is not what I'm referring to. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis. He's specific. He has mentioned the amount. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis you went for. And the reason for this money was to go and bribe the appointment committee of parliament, because you were appearing before the appointment committee. Now, he goes on to say that he is a stupid fool and he will reset his mind. Again, when the Attorney General attempted to respond, he says that A+ should not go there, and if A+ wants us to play in the mud, in the dirt, he is prepared. He can dirty himself. He can play in the mud, because where he comes from, they have been playing in the mud. So as for mud, he's not afraid of mud. Who says we want our Attorney General to be playing in the mud? Who said? And you see, that is why I brought this constitution. In fact, the only minister with an elaborate mandate captured in the constitution is the Attorney General. Article 88 is clear. And indulge me. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be the Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. The Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of legal nature as may be referred to or assigned to him by the President or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. 3. The Attorney General shall be responsible for all the initiation and conduct, of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. 5. The Attorney General shall be responsible for institution and conduct of all civil cases on behalf of the state, and all civil proceedings against the state shall be instituted against the Attorney General as a defendant. 6. And final, the Attorney General shall have audience in all courts in Ghana. So if you have your Attorney General who is unable to respond to such serious allegations. He's unable to respond to these allegations well, but then he says that, first of all, he's been advised to proceed to court, but then he will not do so because he's been given a mandate by the president. He wants to concentrate. I find that weird. Look, in your do, and he's going to reset your mind. And you are telling Ghanaians that you are not going to go to court. You will not proceed to court. Why? Because you are focusing on your work. Meanwhile, court is where you live, is where you sleep, is your home. So, is it not scary? Is it not scandalous that Attorney General says that a member of his own majority caucus, an MP, not just anybody like me and you, an MP says that you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis, and all you can say is that you can play in the mud. As for you, you can swim in the mud. So A+ should bring it on. And then you are rather inviting us to ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. What is our business? Is that supposed to be our business? You have the prosecutorial powers. You are the man in charge. And you are telling us to go and ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. Look, this is below the belt. And as I've just read to you, for an Attorney General to be saying that I can play in the mud, and we are being told that A+ just apologized. So what now? It is going to be an apology spree. People commit offense and they are told to apologize, and so now you are going to live in a nation of apology. Everything is apology. So A+ apologizes, and then Sami also apologizes, and then we leave it there. No. It's important for us to hold these appointees to account for their actions. Attorney General, you cannot say that you want to play in the mud. We do not want an Attorney General to dirty himself. No, that is not what we want. His Excellency the President, not to sweep this under the carpet. These are serious allegations. And all we see is that A+ goes back to pull down the post and is made to apologize, and that is it. Mr. President is being put to the test on his commitment to the very values he sought to espouse exactly a week ago when he outlawed the code of conduct. The entire world is waiting with bated breath on further actions by President Mahama, considering the actions of Mr. Sami Gyamfi and the Attorney General, who says that I want to play in the mud, I want to dirty myself. We want to see some action from President Mahama. We call on the President to show leadership, to act swiftly, decisively, and not to give Mr. Gyamfi and the Attorney General a pat on their backs for this reckless conduct. It is crucial to underscore the necessity of adherence to governance practice in line with constitutional and legal provisions. And this is an issue I really want to raise with you, and follow me on this. That guide the conduct of public officers in Ghana. You recall that in 2017, former President Akufo-Addo, through the National Executive Committee of the new Patriotic Party, issued a directive mandating that all party officials who had been appointed to governmental positions by President Akufo-Addo must resign from their political party roles in adherence to best practices in governance and accountability. So if you recall, Even our current General Secretary, he was the then Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer. When he was appointed CEO, he resigned. A whole lot of ministers, Tutikwa Fisher Jabba was a National Women Organizer. She also resigned. Mr. Mewu from Volta region resigned. Of blessed memory, Honorable Ashiti, Greater Accra Minister, also resigned. Honorable Ajayi as Mayor also resigned. The names, a lot, they resigned. Today, what do we see? It is important to note that a similar practice does not appear to have followed under the current National Democratic Congress. Several individuals who are holding influential governmental positions continue to hold dual roles that may pose concern in terms of governance practice, legal stipulations, and ethical standards. Specifically, the following individuals remain in both political and public office, raising critical issues about potential compliance with relevant legal norms. The National Youth Organizer of the NDC, George Opare Ado, is a minister now. He's still the National Youth Organizer. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer. He has not resigned. And he's still their communications officer. Basintali is still the deputy communications, and Abisu, who is with the Minerals Investment Fund, is also still there. Osman Ayarega is also at post. Meanwhile, he's an NCA. Ruth Sedo is with the NSS. He's still holding on to his post. Mustafa Gbande is at the office of the presidency. He's still holding on to his post. Elikem Kotoko is now the deputy CEO for Forestry Commission. Dr. Omane Buama is the defense minister. He was in charge of the elections. He's not resigned. I recall that even when I was elected as National Youth Organizer, I resigned from Deputy Executive Director of NSS. Also, all regional and constituency executives who have been appointed into key government positions are still at post. I go to Ashanti region, their regional secretary is the regional minister, he's still at post. You go to Eastern region, I think the women organizer also was their women organizer, and today he's still at post. The retention of these dual roles by political appointees under the NDC administration raises significant legal concerns regarding the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 94, which disqualifies a person from being appointed a member of parliament or a public officer if they hold dual offices that are inconsistent with the principles of public service. Furthermore, Section 2, this is more important, Section 2 of the Public Services Act prohibits public officers from engaging in business or holding any other positions that might undermine their impartiality and efficiency in their official capacities. The continued holding of political appointments alongside public office positions undermines the principle of neutrality in public service, and these individuals remain bound by their party loyalties, which could affect their objectivity and ability to serve the state effectively. In the light of all these considerations, it is imperative for the government to reassess the position of individuals holding dual appointments and ensure that the requisite legal framework are strictly adhered to. The principle of separation of powers between political and public roles is not just a matter of legal compliance, but is central to maintaining public trust, ensuring the integrity of state institutions, and upholding the principles of good governance. We urge His Excellency the President to take immediate steps to rectify the situation by ensuring that all political party holders who have been appointed to public office, especially those holding political positions, comply with the relevant provisions. And also, as we said, because of good governance principles, they must resign. The clear delineation of political roles and governmental functions will reinforce the credibility of the administration and strengthen public confidence in the democratic process. We thank you very much for coming, and we hope that we'll be engaging you we are waiting for the outcome of His Excellency the President. Now, Mame and Monitofa Ewochi. Abusianfo beda mo ase. Ene se ye frɛ mo baya, edi kan ye beda mo nyama se na no demonstration amu nyina mu gina mu ma ye ma no ye kama no. Ekoye ye beda mo ase. Enche bia no ye bekoso abodahuro afa enema bi ni anamontu a ye ba bitu ho. Na ene adetitru nti a ye hia wa ha efa amamu ho. Enche na ye wura Mahama ede krata ba ya watu din eye code of conduct. Code of conduct na siche nya ne se eye krata wakuchiri se ne be ya eye omo a wapa omo so mbe ye adwuma o na ban omo di ebe ye adwuma na ma amamuo no ayefe eni na wotwe kra ena ye hu se the National Communications Officer of the NDC ena IBM acting CEO board board wako ayase no wayi eye bronisika dollars ibi odi ama Maame Agradaa na ohwe sika no se na osi kan ne bebrebe na Agradaa esa hwim ya kan asa kan na ne ehu ne enwanwan se eye National Communications Officer of the Party of Saga acting board CEO Yera Mahama and some dan kofo no mo kanya ne se enya ade a wonsa obetime dia kan eya branch san se oyo golden boy untimi nye ho hwe untimi nye bibia na kasa kwa eva so ko social media so asema mo kan no nanso no ade a waye no ya ade a ekire eya ahokyira Ghana for film ene enema bo akosoro na wo hwe obi ono no hwe gold board so na wayi sika dosopo dollars na odi ache anoshi etietia Ghana mra o code of conduct na nkasa o de ba he no ebu nanimtia se opani Mahama anye hu bibia ye kira ni se eye o code of conduct na de ba he se bia kra takeke emunyedu ebeye mframa ukasa keke na menyi ni se sa na apese wa mamu no esiko no na ebi asipen eya abrante Sami Gyamfi ye ebra maami sisila dapa asemba ya yesi yakwako hu sika bi woni fie abrante ya na kan se maami yenyini fi ho yewa Akufuado out of good governance amamu a opese mu dan fine Oma oba pani ojina juma fini se mana so mana resign ye ne ye kan se na no bi se ye de sa aba no bo tachi a ye se ye ne yemfa nya dai yemfa boba wei ni tete se esi dan na obi a yenye ntua ne ka o na enei ono watimi nya dollars dosopo so wo hwe kwan so ofa so yi dollar na wutimu se bebregu ho pa na usa hwe ebiem ka na otimu a ode koye na no ana Yero Mahama kasa okan bibi se na point is no they should eschew opulence and ostentation enyema kese a akatua kwa ya de ma ne ya ne se eye gold ya ye kan ho asemu nyina ne de gold board abai ni tumedi kese ba ko pa aban mi ate ase ne se e ba be so ye sidinim e be ma ye sidina de agina na opani a ono no wo gold board na o hwe se ye sidini be gina no onje ye sidini ndi $80 na o ye de o che And this is serious lack of confidence in our city. Chese wama yen yesika na yedie no. Emu jidie die watono asawram. Obune nimtia onfa nya hwe. Yen yesika yedie a eno ne yesibra bebo ho ban na nke nei. Entimi nyina no. Wo ba wo di sid nanim onyam atwitwi fom. Eno ne ade ana wonso nyese be woye obi akeke o. Sebi nko obi akeka enuafo nka yemfrɛ nsentrofo dwumadi. Eye Ghana ban sa wo hwɛ eye aketua kra na amo se yemetua ne kana. Ano hye eye afimu bia no obeje 1.5 million Ghana cedis. Titi sika no 15 billion ena obeje. Uye no free man na no so kwa no yesa timitum ohamu nchichemu edunum utimitum after every 2 years biano utimi esachire. Entade obehye menu mienu dia ye hye kama entade obehye no ono no de no aban ye for ho ka 15% of the annual salary to your calculation now 150,000 Ghana cedis ne de ba ne se on fanton tade na se be watade ye show kwa to ne se tade ye show uto ne se and na yetwa 150,000 and for more kwabrane se on fanton tade nche any shoes enche the security for yetuaka yo bedo do ne garden mu yetuaka sikasemo ye kan nyina ni na katua ya kan nyina no enu klasika ode ko hospital ho ni sika ni hospital ni bibia ni manum ni anya ni yire mu nyina no aban asai afa ho ka petrol 1,005 liters ya fa ho ka omo ankomu ni mpunta no komma me how many gallons 1,005 liters no ha me no nko ano ye se tuaka ansana ya sama no car mienu a ontwie ansana eye okọ ahomejie mu se o person ko ba bi ko gigi nani kakra wa bre wa aduma bre no kwa eno so ban fa ho nya ka etwa business class ma no ni hotel ka ya fa ho ka ni bibia ya sama no 2,000 a day per diem dollars o aside aka ho aside ma no and $2,000 is 24,000 Ghana cedis. And no gina day. And no gina day. Et in ya can say, Abaya shall say, no say, Buya, ye sit in any tiadia. Yes, sir, on penny say, Nadaroma. Sabe, Sanya. Now, no, a see ya. A year, my Mrs. Yadapa, and no crown. OSB, you should move Mamma crown, who day, who soon. Asisi kanu nuane dia onu oyobi a waye adwuma enfie dia 9 ne kunu sika kra de etese buano anwea woye architect over 60 years of experience 60 years an international consultant obi ani so oskapa one of the richest architects we have in Ghana na se enei obi akokotu sika no kwa no yese anti money laundering act no wafum brano etino yenyine di ene o resign here it is ene sa na no bi ena sa semisi ya ene it is only fair say employer Ramahama maninsi chenye mfa hwehwemu mra because nya che no kra so mokra yentua omoka ene ne omanya sika ayesa dwumadi nyina na ade ba ko a na se fem so dwumadi nyina ho ne se atopa de ye atopa ye pa obi fomu a mo po achewa enuafo na mo de ache na enu nse ofum mra na wo so wapa achewo ni ama wo na no A+ na attorney general baba be ka che se onu de A+ ya onu ni be di efi mu agro na ateche mu agro de na de tete no to onu de obetumi atete ateche de aye no na why na see attorney general na person atete ateche de no eni ofo mo emi ni se mo be pese ya attorney general no onyare wa atechem onyare ofi mu ontiti fi nya ne ho Osha constitution medical kind. Say we the Jumadi and Jumadi Cassiapa. Or no, yet lawyer ni penny a Gina Homa Ghana buying. Or no, lawyer ni penny Cassiapa Gina Homa Ghana. That's a lawyer ni penny Cassia. Yakato say, wo, what was this 500,000 at the Mudia, and the Baba Ma appointment committee, parliament. Send a bear will go through parliament. And you see, when I go say with Fako Court House, they be caught in the other call. I think the Ruben the travel to India won't me rent treasure. They ain't want to because if you are the plus call about what can I say? It was in your own call. Nelson wouldn't conform to Cocoto. Sir, I dear quite where I did Bowie. Some way you comfort. One of the Shani prayer garo. What call this Cadia Bremer should be your phone. One son wouldn't conform to person who don't Cocoto also now say. Who charge you more for corruption? But one son yet the BBC Atoso. Yera Mahama said, 1 million yes, I'm sure and Sia, Attorney General, and Amwa. We are doing say, Attorney General, Ujaria teaching, Attorney General, or your Crawford, Attorney General, Aquaja Demudia, Attorney General, and Econo, the Biabo City, Econos. Ah, no, some say, Adria, you do know. And you also see a Timmy sign it. Also, a Timmy sign it. You will be your phone, sir. No, I shall want some of phone was to say the part, or me pants say. It will your phone, son. No, I shall want some. Because I'm someone now, no more can I must go for dummy. Editing at some sense, I must only Obiako Casano. And they are Tony General there, or no, yes, or your comfort. Yes, or you yes, or Quacodia, they would get 500,000 Ghana cities at the Bread Appointment Committee in Parliament. Mutinio, on funny panel court, non consign it, see there because they are the other court. Non concourse another jail. Me wants to be a court now here. Oh, no, did you? Oh, no, that. I hope is your brother office who too now know the high court. Also want to be funny panel court. Now concentrate on you and Nipana Gumufin. Wakasa with you. The Cassams will say, A plus in betraying, a dear Unimufa and necessary. Or no name betraying. Attorney General won a 2 million crowd. You couldn't film. Tony John and Cassandra Debris. I'll move a mine. Now, you were almost NDC national officers, be a regional or a Jumum, our Baimu. Now, say, Kura party the Breno, Jaito. Obibia, Jaito. And no, a dear Buan said, and Manipanunya, a Jimpo. Emma ordinary esi adwuma o ye no so no ahe ye ebuama amamuo pa ededi etuwa hwa enei miame boss o ye current general secretary no ya Asante regional youth organizer obeye why CEO no resign here and the deputy Bashir no resign here regional ministers ahodo bebre o mba nya honorable architect of blessed memory or resigning from Greater Accra region chairman Amewu resign here honorable Asumacheme resign here all over Obia resign here me ebra ye elected me as national youth organizer na me deputy executive director NSS awa na resign here and then ye come yakwa any say ye the NDC headquarters na wa da braka ya peja ne yakwa ko si Jubilee House and it is dangerous for good governance. Etienne, offer national youth organizer, or no minister. Money Yenaguma, on resign, the deputies in Bako NYA, Osman Ayarega, Ruth, or NSS, Omodaso, Basentali, or Daso YE. You are copy our occupied position in pain, or you are resigning as a regional youth organizer or Ashanti region. I don't know, that's the award post. You are Manebuama, or that's the director of elections. New Osai minister of defense. Offer regions Nima Bebre. In fact, regional secretary are not northern region. On a war Alaji Loto. On a war NLA. Bebre all over. Elikem Kotoko. Yaira Kuku, no your IT director. And then they will call NIA. Erika Omuni na no mukuta positions. What we are calling on the president to do is and then with the code of conduct for appointees about say omonye impartial and it's a conflict of interest biaba. It's no omo a wapa womo no eye wapa omo a sha womo no resign send na nado danko akufado year 2017 Emma omo a wa appoint omo nyina no resign ye no mo so resign no mo focus on governance. Nti ebe say Ramahama we no boa Emma Ghana no ye koye nim. Nti ene se frɛ mo baa na adetitu nti frɛ mo baa nyame nhra mo obesa tie nka bi.
Babshafo yada mu nyina mo ase eti mo betra ha ya na mo atwen mo ai invite mu no nyina mo twen ha ya. Thank you very much.